going to break.
Close
I'm going to
that.
purposely.
There we go. Let's get that set.
Hey everyone.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the workshop. What plane? What plane? What plane are you talking about?
Plane.
Oh,
I don't
think they were
know.
talking about the videos in the intro card.
Yeah, they're talking about the intro.
Yeah, there is some weird stuff on the intro.
Yes, Wraith got upgraded.
Yeah, I now have armor.
Wraith 3.0.
Yeah, my protogen got a big upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. How is everyone anyway? Yes, the Juggernaut armor, yes. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Here, let me switch you guys to shout so then it's more clear for audio. There you all go.
Hope
Isn't
everyone's
it
doing
so
great
clear?
today.
Yeah, as I say, Wednesday, workshop's back. We're doing Avatar stuff today. And I do believe this is going to be a two-part.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So,
It'll be our first multi-part series.
yeah, so we will actually have a workshop next week as well.
Yep.
And then we take a break for a week once we're done with this season, series, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Hello, Wolfie. Hello, Arctic Penguin. Hello, Lexia.
Hello.
Lots of folks.
Welcome
So,
everyone.
what is the plan for today then?
So, you were about to say,
Okay.
or do you want me
Today's
to go?
plan.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and say it. Today's plan is we're going to go over the basics of importing an avatar, getting it basically set up, as well as going over potential issues that you can run into along the way and how to fix them if you can.
Great.
Yep.
Nice.
I think it's an important topic to cover.
I
know we
have an
covered
avatar-
it.
I have an
covered a
avatar
long
with
time
broken
ago.
hands.
Ah. That'd be something to
My
cover.
hands are stuck like that. When my
Okay.
controllers, if I have my hands like that in my controllers, my hands are like that because I put the rotation in wrong when I actually uploaded it. Well, not uploaded it, sorry. You know when you use the avatar creator. So when I put my hands flat, my hands go like that.
Makes sense. That can be fixed.
Yeah. So, maybe you could show people how that's done as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Jeez.
Do we have examples of if something imports without the proper bone hierarchy? Because we're going to be going into that as well, right? Because that's a common issue.
Yeah, we do have an avatar that we will be importing for this process, but it does have proper bones. But we can definitely go over that.
Cool.
Hey, Sedecan, welcome. Red the Protogen regened hydrate. I'm going to go get a drink in a minute, actually, once these guys start, and then I'll be working behind the scenes. So...
I think we should be able to start right now. We should be able to start
Yeah.
right away.
Mhm.
So,
Yep,
because
I'll,
we got already quite a few people in here.
Yep, I'm
I
gonna
had
go
some
hide
model
down in the.
previously.
I'm gonna go hide down in
Water.
the director's booth.
Okay,
good.
well, shall we head out there and
Figured.
begin?
Yes,
Alrighty.
that's the way to go down.
Okay,
So-
let's start. Let's go ahead and start with you. How do we import an avatar? Or rather, what are the methods of importing?
So, there is, well, two ways of getting files in general from your computer into Neos. One is within your file browser, and the other one is just literally dragging and dropping it on your screen, like the Neos window in Neos. So if I actually, do you want to showcase like importing a model from your desktop, like a file browser in? As I don't know how I can show my UI.
That's
in-
okay. I'm pretty sure you just let them know to navigate to the file browser and locate an FBX or locate any sort of file model that would have the rig.
Okay. Yeah. And you would
Yeah,
simply
it's located in
double-click
the
the
file
model.
browser tab.
I can
Yes.
display my UI real quick and show exactly where the file browser would be at. So if I render my private
That'd be
UI right
nice.
here, you should be able to see. Right here is where you can locate your file browser. And also, you can even copy a link into it, and that will also allow you to... Here, let me de-render the private UI. There we go.
That's actually one thing I also wanted to bring up is there's technically three ways. You can copy a file with Control-C on your computer and just paste it into Neos as well with Control-V.
Yep.
Or
Or
use the
clicking
button on your
paste
dash.
from.
Mhm.
Yep. Paste from
That as well.
paste content from clipboard. Yes. Now,
Okay.
I have some models that I can demonstrate. So, for example, I can click and drag this model onto the window, and this will pop up whenever you import any of these using these kinds of methods. So, it brings up a 3D model importer dialog. So, in this case, it's a 3D model. So, we're going to use this option right here.
Because it is an avatar.
Yep,
Yep.
regular / avatar.
Now, these are just based off of different heights and units. But in this case, it's an avatar. I kind of want it in a relative, like, humanoid height. So I'll click on that. In advanced settings here, we can look at it some other time, but has a lot of different options here about, like,
why don't we
importing models
cover-
in general.
We can cover it inside of here, because it's very quick. So the reason why I feel like it's important to cover this is there might be some times where if you're importing in a model, there might not be any materials on it. And,
Good point.
Or even if there isn't, then you can actually, there is an option here where you can import material orbs. So spawn material orbs is a really good
Yes.
option to click on for any of you guys that are coming in with an avatar that is completely blank white. And then you can easily access all the materials that are on the model. As well as if you want to import the model at a specific material type, by default it imports at PBS. You can change that right up here to different types of materials. So if you want it to be like ZXC Tune or different things, you can also do that as well. Or even preferred specular for the PBS type, which is also a good option that Aegis has pointed out.
Yep.
And obviously everything else you would want to be kept inside of here for setting up the IK, but we won't go over
This can
every
be
single
useful as
option.
well too. Forcing it into a T-pose would be useful for setting it up in like a more symmetrical way.
Absolutely, if it's A pose, then you can have it set to T pose based on the rig. So yeah, I just wanted to cover that real quick so then people know that those are really important options that I always use.
There are a
Also,
lot of
if
handy... Or go ahead.
Also, if you have a model that has a lot of different materials and you can't tell what's what because it's all the same color, because if it spawns without any textures, it'll just be either like white or whatever color that material is. I also recommend using generate random colors. Actually, I'll click on that and showcase that too. It will actually spawn each individual material as a random color, and you can just change that color afterwards.
Here, might as well do it for the spawning orbs as well, because why not?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I will do run import. And you may notice that this model is familiar.
Yeah. Good old Neo spot.
Yep. And as you can see, each individual type of material is a different color.
Nextlen,
Yep.
users are reporting bitrate issues with the stream right now. It is choppy as hell and dropping frames.
Okay.
Hmm?
I don't know why that would be the case for it. What do you recommend?
The only
Is
things I
it-
can recommend is check you're not downloading, or if your CPU's being pegged or something, or I can take over on the stream side.
Here, let me try to do something real quick. I'll try to turn off my eye tracking.
Wait, is it fixed? Is it doing that still?
Apparently people are saying now it's fixed. So, I think we can
Can
continue.
anyone
check,
else
confirm if
confirm?
I'm
it's
just
fixed.
keeping an eye on it now. Twitch is still reporting it unstable right now, but I'll keep an eye on it.
Okay, sounds good.
We have 2 folks saying it's fixed.
Okay, continue.
All
on.
right.
So far, if you guys didn't see, we have imported out a model,
Three
which
is
is
the
the
charm.
Neo spot, and we have material spawn as well as different colors.
Yep.
Neatly organized, too.
And this also goes to show that what a model would look like with the proper rig would actually spawn in as. Because if you have a model that has like a rig that Neos recognizes as an IK rig, you can actually grab the individual limbs or the proxies and actually move them around.
Now, if you import an avatar that it's setting up the IK for and it can't find some of the bones, it will pop up a separate text dialog box telling you a report basically of what it could find and what it couldn't.
Let's see if I can find one.
You might want
Actually,
to
let me just
undo
import the hand.
You might want to undo the movement though.
We'll import another avatar.
Alright. If that's
Yep,
good,
this
then
is
I'll
just
move
like-
on to this one.
Just keep it.
Wow,
So
look,
I'm-
it's a user.
I'm gonna import just the hand actually. So
You come with me now.
boom, there we go. This is what it looks like when you import a model and it doesn't have all the bones. In this case, obviously, because I just have a hand.
That's not much of a model. You do have an interesting question, though, from Sodakun. Is IK naming strict? Yes and no. There is a lot of heuristics behind various names, and Neo supports multiple different names for things like the hips can be either hips or pelvis, forearm can be lower arm or forearm, things like that.
Yep, and I believe it's also translated into several languages as well too. So, yes, because several people in the community have donated models to Fruits in the past to look at different naming conventions to see like what could be added. So,
Now, if this dialog pops up, it might look scary because there's so much text, but it basically just tells you, here's what you're missing, and it shows you, hey, look, we have this nice bone hierarchy, but it's just a hand, so of course you're not going to have, hips, spine, head, etc. But it's a good way to, if you import a model and this pops up, you're like, oh, I totally forgot to add X bone, and it had, yes.
okay. So,
Massive head pads. Interesting.
yep, and as we can see here, all the different materials are all laid out in a grid with each individual color.
And you can get yourself a material tooltip and start assigning your textures and materials once you import them, which you can do
Yep.
with any other asset, as we have covered before.
So, shall I import the one that we're going to be using?
Yes.
Yep.
Clean these up.
Goodbye.
We can keep the avatar here. Oh. I can import it later.
Yeah.
So in this case, I'm going to import regular avatar, auto humanoid height, and run import. Now this is a Ready Player Me avatar. randomly generated. So this one has the proper rig and even imports textures properly. So
once we have a basic avatar set up, if you didn't get the error, then the rig is set up correctly, or the little error box, and the next thing you'd want to do is set this up as an avatar. And to do that, you need to get the avatar creator, which is available from your dashboard's home screen. It has a little icon of
I can
a
show
purple
that real
wireframe.
fast.
And yes, that would be great.
you can
Let me
spawn
show
it
you
out
my
from
side.
your dashboard too.
So you'd be able to find the avatar creator right here. It should be on this type of grid of buttons. I have my UI a little bit modified, but it should be right there, avatar creator, and then you can spawn it out and it'll look like that.
Now there is actually another way of getting it too. Might as well show it, you know?
Alright. Oh, yes. So another way you can do it if you don't want to access it from your dashboard is you can get yourself a developer tooltip. And if you go to the Create New menu, I believe it's under Objects. Yes, Avatar Creator, and it makes one.
Very good. That's another way to do it as well.
Yep. It's good to show both ways of doing it. Just like importing.
So once we have the Avatar Creator open, we have our main panel here, as well as headset and hands, which we will use to position on the avatar to set it up. And you don't have to be precise with this, you just want to make sure that the eyes are mostly lined up. And once you have the head mostly lined up, you can go over here and there are buttons here which specifically line it up nice and centered. Once you click those, it's nice and centered. And from here, you take each hand, and you'll notice it's mirrored, so when you move one, it moves the other one. And you want to line this up with the hands. Again, this doesn't have to be very precise. Now, once you've set this up, there's a few checkboxes here which will help you set up other things in the avatar automatically as well. I'm going to uncheck Protect Avatar, which is checked by default, meaning that once you set up the avatar, only you, the one who made it, can wear it or save it. So we're going to be setting up face tracking, because I believe this avatar has face tracking visemes. And we're also going to show tool anchors. Now what this shows you is the grab sphere, which is this, as well as your tooltip position. And you can position these where they make sense. I'd have to do it by actually grabbing it. There we go. And same thing with this. And as well your tool shelf position as well. Now once you get these in the positions where you'd like them, there's also a button to align these, although it apparently totally messes up the position of that. That's fine. Oop. Just put that about there. And again, this is also mirrored to the other hand. And once you have this set up, all we have to do to make the avatar is click Create. And it sets up most of the things for you. As you can see.
Hello.
Got fingers, got mouth movements, eye tracking if you have it. Yeah. Now there's a few little things that it doesn't set up automatically, but that is, I think, what we can get into next. Human. Okay, so to take a look and see if maybe it missed a few blend shapes on the avatar, we can open it up in an inspector by selecting it and choosing Open Inspector. And I'm going to go to the root of the avatar with that button. And we're interested in the model itself, which is generally under centered root and then the armature name. Now you'll see that this model imported as a bunch of separate models, like the body is separate from the head, which is separate from the hat, etc. We're interested in the head. And you'll notice here's all of its blend shapes. A lot of them have already been picked up by the facial tracking component, which is called the expression driver. You can see a few here haven't. For instance, eyes wide right. So if you have eye tracking, for example, and you want to detect, because when you widen your eyes, Neos can detect that. That can be set up in the eye manager. But if I scroll down, here we have the avatar expression driver, and it already set up a whole bunch of blend shapes according to face tracking, and it should work right out of the box if you have it. Now, if for some reason a blend shape did not get added in automatically, let's see if there is one here.
I think there's also biseams that got added unintentionally.
Well, I can see how those eyes look up, eyes look down. Those are for... Oh, that's actually interesting. That shouldn't be there.
That's weird.
Well, anyhow, just to give an example of something, let's say you accidentally, it didn't set up one of these expressions automatically. Well, we can scroll down to the bottom of this component and click Add. And if we go back to the one that it didn't find, in this case, jaw open, we can grab it, and we can scroll down to our newly added index here and place it under target. Now, this is jaw open. We don't want your jaw to open when you smile, unless you want that. So we need to scroll all the way over until we find jaw open. Now, while I'm doing this, you'll see each of these has 3 sliders, which allows you to control the minimum and maximum of how much it drives that blend shape, as well as... Did I cycle all the way through? I did. Jaw open, there we go. As well as a volume suppression strength. So, say you have... Say you're speaking and one of these is triggering too much, you can increase this slider, and while you're speaking, it will not drive that blend shape as much, for example. And as for the eye tracking ones, the component that controls the eye tracking and the eyes in general, if you don't have eye tracking, is located on the head. So I'm going to navigate to the head on the inspector here under the armature. Hips, spine, lots of spines. There's the head. I'll set this as the root so we can see it. And here we'll see a automatically generated slot called Eye Manager. And in here is this scary-looking massive component, the Eye Manager, which will automatically control the avatar's eyes if you don't have eye tracking, and it will show you all of the data that your eyes are giving it if you do have eye tracking. Now, what we're interested in is scrolling down and going under the eye linear driver. And here we have 2 items, one for the left eye, one for the right. You can see each of these has an open-close target, which is blinking, which the avatar will blink if you're not in it, which sometimes is kind of spooky. I'm going to steal this inspector over here, Aegis, and go back to our head model. And you'll notice earlier I mentioned how we don't have eye widen left and widen right enabled, but we do have widen target here in the Eye Manager. We can just simply set that up by grabbing our blend shape and dropping it where it is necessary, in this case, widen. You could do the other one if you'd like. Your laser's already there. Great. Now, if you have... The Eye Manager also supports pupil size, like pupil dilation. Squeeze is when you close your eyes and squeeze them shut. It can detect that. Frown is supposed to be supported, but the eye tracking API doesn't return that data. But it is there. Oop.
If I tried using squeeze for squeeze,
it might work. Actually, do the eyes have... No, it doesn't look like
they don't have dilation. I was checking, that's why I had that open.
Okay. And there's a bunch of other settings in here to change your eyes as well. Like if your eyes are moving left and right too far, you can adjust the back swing to be lower. As well as other settings up here in the Eye Manager component itself, which if you don't have eye tracking, your eyes will look at objects in a semi-random manner to make it look like you're looking around. And you can control all of those settings here. Do you have anything that you think needs to be brought up in terms with the face and eye tracking and blend shapes and such? Next.
Not that I can think of right now.
Okay. Well... Since we have that set up...
Did you show it for the possible way to make it so that it could be a different blend shape for the mouth? Like, let's say if I wanted it to be like a different type of smile blend shape, then they would activate that smile blend shape if I used... That might be a good one.
Yeah, well, I don't I don't believe this avatar has other smile blend shapes as that example, but you can look through and say your avatar has different smiles. Like in this case, we have mouth smile left, mouth smile right. If you have, let's say, just for the sake of demonstrating, let's make it squint. Well, say this is your other smile, or what you want it to be. You can just take the blend shapes that you want it to be, go down here. Let's see, there's smile left, smile right, and you just replace it.
Okay, let's see if it works.
And then it will drive those. Well, you're gonna have a funny lopsided smile. Yeah.
Looks
we
like
can
I'm
go back and fix that.
Grinding my teeth.
Let's smile left back to what it was. Bloop. Now, another feature of this expression driver, by the way, is at the very bottom, there's a button here which auto-assign blend shapes, which if you just make this component from scratch, and it has nothing in here, and you don't want to have to add in, 20, 30 of these manually, Neos will do it for you with auto-assign blend shapes, which is what it does when you import the avatar. Okay. When it comes to setting up materials, of course, this avatar imported with most of its materials already assigned, but, Aegis, I think these materials could work as specular. What do you think?
I was literally going to start that.
Hey Rayuvi, we also have just one question in the chat though. It's Sedgman says, can you predefine the value for a blend shape? As example, set widen to 1 permanently.
Yes, all of these blend shape values here are sliders between 0 and 1. So, say for example you wanted your mouth to be open constantly, just drag that over to 1 and now the mouth is permanently open. You can do the same thing with eye widen if you don't want the eye manager to control it.
And you can click on the box on the right and type in a value, and including overdriving it.
Or underdriving. Yeah, that's...
And the Gmod.
Oh no.
Uh-huh.
No. But thank
And
you, Sedgman.
underdriving it too.
That was a very great question.
That's actually a funny expression. Concern.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, did you want to cover now materials and... We're
So, a good way of getting the materials off of this avatar. Actually, I'm going to deselect. Okay, there's my.
Don't lose your dev tip.
Yeah. I will also close these extra. There we go. So, we got the model here, and I got this inspector open to the model right here. And a good way of getting all the materials in a hierarchy of different meshes or models is by taking a material tooltip, equipping it, pointing at the object you want to get the materials from, and all the objects underneath it, grabbing it, holding the grab button, which will bring up what you're grabbing, pointing in a random space and hitting secondary. And it shows
There's all your materials.
All the materials. Now this one I believe already is specular, yes. So
There's
I can
also
actually...
not to interject, but there's also one other nice feature that you can do in the same manner is you can grab a hierarchy and auto-convert all materials underneath that hierarchy into whatever material you like.
Show me.
Is this new for you? Okay. Well, here's an interesting moment. So you'll grab the root that you want, just like you did. And while you're doing that, you'll open your context menu, and there is a convert all to option.
very true. Thank you for showing that as well, Ravy.
It's
That makes it faster.
It's an underused feature, and it has saved me so much time, and it will save you so much time as well.
I wonder how many people in the chat did not even see that at all. Oh god, the texture. Oh no. Okay.
It's really sad when I see a brand new user, because I do know about that, and I see a brand new user convert every single one of their materials one at a time, and I'm just like, no, you can do it this way. And they look at me and they're just like, are you serious right now? I spent like 20 minutes doing each one.
I've been here
Yeah.
over 3 years, and I never seen that.
Oh, fair
You're welcome.
enough. Yeah. Now it's on screen forever. Everyone knows.
See,
Yay!
I learn something new every day.
Hmm. Okay, so we just converted this avatar to specular, which gave a lot of the color back. Sometimes you don't want specular for your avatar's materials, but it's on a case-by-case basis usually.
Depends on the workflow of the textures. If you have a metallic smoothness map, then you use metallic and then specular. But there is a stream we covered this stuff too, so I recommend looking through that. I believe it's also on YouTube. Oh, hello.
All right.
So,
With materials
material
done,
set.
what would you want to do next?
So, should we cover? Well, we got eye and face tracking. What about full body tracking?
Ah, yes. Okay. Well, that involves me standing up for once.
Because these are like all the setup stuff, not really stuff for troubleshooting. I want to save that until after the base setup, like where things could go wrong.
With full body tracking, I think I'm a prime example for demonstrating this because I have all of the full body tracking that Neo supports, which is up to 8 5 trackers or 11-point tracking if you include your head and hands. So I'm going to enter this avatar, and it mostly works out of the bat, but it's a little weird if I look up and down and such. So to calibrate an avatar with full body, there is a button available on the home screen of your dash, which has the Vive Tracker logo on it. Next, you could probably demonstrate where it is.
Absolutely. Give me 1 second. So it should be right here. Oops, wrong perspective. Should be right here for full body avatar creator, and it looks a little bit like a Vive puck or a tracker. And then you just click on that, and it'll spawn out a calibration. There you go.
Once you click on it, you're greeted with 2 things, which is your full body calibrator panel and this, which is a little miniature showing you as well as all of your trackers and all of the information related to them. Now, the very first time that you set this up, you're going to want to do yourself a favor and do T-pose calibration. But before that, you'll see on our calibration panel over here, it says your height. You can enter this in metric units or imperial units, as you can see here below. But importing the correct height is, putting in the correct height, I should say, is important for getting it to look correct. Now, I want to do this from scratch, so I will run T-pose calibration. My height is set up correctly, and I will start tracker calibration. And you'll see this little avatar here is T-posed, and if I look down, there's a little hologram of an avatar, which is also in a T-pose. So for me, you're going to want to line up your feet and line up everything, and if you have elbow trackers or upper body trackers, you also want to make sure that your arms are lined up with this here. And you can double check over here if everything is looking good. Once you've done that, as it says in the panel there, you will press both triggers, and you are decently properly aligned, but there's one more step. Specifically, if you have chest, elbow, or knee trackers, these little spheres show up, and you want to drag these for the chest tracker forward, and what these do is this controls where the IK is. If I move the knee left and right, and you see if I can just bend the knee all the way backwards, because that tells what direction the knee should point. I usually drag them out front, like so. And for me, when I'm doing the elbows, it's easier to control them if I turn this model around. I drag this out back, because you don't want your elbow pointing forward. That's not correct. So I'll do this like this, and drag this back. And in this position as well, it also allows you to change your feet position by grabbing them if they're in the wrong spot. Same with your hips. Now, once you have this set up, if all of your trackers that you have say tracker mapped, then you're all good. You can see all of mine are green, and they work just fine. Now, once this is set up, this doesn't necessarily calibrate the avatar, but this gets you ready for that. Ultimately, once you have set this up, you can click Calibrate My Avatar, and we can start actually calibrating the avatar. Now, when you do this, it shows you a little hip sphere, 2 feet spheres, and 2 knee arrows. And this allows you to drag the hips around so that you're not all hunchbacked like this, and your head isn't down too far. Now, right now, with how avatar calibration is, there's a couple of steps and things that you want to be aware of. First thing is to make sure your feet are on the ground and lined up with your feet. If you don't have knee trackers, these arrows do matter, but since I have knee trackers, they kind of override those, but it's still good to put them in the right locations. Now, the really important one here is the hips, and there's also a slider here, what I will get to next, but with how the IK works in Neos right now, often with full body, the neck can get all kind of scrunched up. And to fix that, you just want to take the hips and drag them down until the neck is mostly straight. And you can see how the head is moving down. That's fine, because I don't know if it shows up on stream or not, but this hat that I'm wearing, it's still not moving. You want to move this down just a little bit until about there. And now, the neck is straight. Everything is fine. And at this point, what I will do personally is you'll notice the knees are not straight, even though I'm standing straight up. With height compensation here, this will adjust the size of the avatar relative to your body, making it larger or smaller, like so. And we want to adjust this until about there. For me, a value of about 93 works, but it will vary depending on your own unique body shape. And I'll go back here and adjust the hips a little bit. This is definitely a process that you want to put a little bit of time into, because this part of the avatar calibration you only have to do once, because the avatar calibration saves with the avatar.
Yep. And
once I'm done, though.
Yes, and just be sure that you actually save the avatar, because it will keep that data. So you have to resave it. I usually like to keep an extra folder of full body avatars. That will work very well.
So once you've finished...
How to save after...
Yes. Once you've finished, you can click Finish, and if things still don't look right, you can return to tracker calibration and do it again. But if everything looks good, you can close the calibrator. And now we have a fully calibrated avatar.
Excellent.
Now... Oh, hello. My avatar's fully calibrated too.
And what were you going to say?
Okay. Oh, I was just going to say after full body calibration, we have shown how to demonstrate setting up eye tracking, face tracking, materials, full body. Is there anything we're missing that's really important?
Probably dynamic bones, I would say.
Ah!
Which we can add those on the hands, right? just for
I mean,
standpoint,
you can.
That, right? Yeah.
Would you like to demonstrate?
Yeah, let's put dynamic bones.
Here we go.
Fingers.
Let's get the.
Let's get them wiggly fingers.
Wiggly.
Would this break the IK a little bit though?
We'll find out.
Okay, here we go. All right. So I selected the left arm. And
you're doing the whole arm, okay.
Yes, why not?
Okay, fair enough.
And I'm going to go to Add Component, Physics, and Dynamic Bones, Dynamic Bone Chain. Now, if we want to quickly do this, we can simply go to scroll down in this entire component to where it says bones. You can either add bones manually and just drag and drop the slot into there. And a good way of simply doing that is dragging and dropping it and clicking setup from slot, which will automatically get it ready in position for the dynamic bones. But in this case, I'm going to use the automated method, which is setup from children, rig only in this case, because there's other things that are in this arm that aren't bones, so...
Yes, a dynamic bone tooltip anchor.
I mean, we could do that, but
No.
you know, let's do it.
Oh boy. And see, it
So-
automatically populates it with everything that it found in there. Oh boy.
I think it's overriding it.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh.
Doesn't look like it's.
Oh
setting.
wait. Well, wait. Your tool
The
shelf.
tool shelf.
Oh yeah, I see.
Wait, equip a tool.
Equip a tool. Okay, here. Wait, let me.
On the left hand.
Oh, that's the part that's all.
Oh, there's the laser.
Yeah, I can't even move it upwards.
You almost had it.
Yeah, that's a little bit difficult. Yeah, you see what I mean? There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, not ideal for
Not the
example.
best example. And the
Yeah.
reason it didn't work is because the finger bones and the arm bones are actually being controlled by the IK of the avatar. They're already being driven, and
of
two
course.
things can't drive something at once. So it just fails here and doesn't know what to do. But if you have an avatar that has, say, big ears or a tail or wings, you can
Wraith
add
has
dynamic
one.
bone chain to it. Oh yes.
You
can,
you're probably
just-
gonna have to
you just-
spawn it larger than that.
Please
Hmm?
spawn a model.
Yeah.
Here, let me spawn
Have
one.
one available.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wraith has one.
Where is it at?
Where did Wraith go? Oh, there we go.
There's Wraith. You have a tail.
There we go.
Yep, and it's frozen. There you go. So you can add on the
And
dynamics.
ears.
Yeah, so let's just do
Mhm. So
dynamics
let's-
for the
let's do the-
the tail. Why not?
So I'm going to select it and traverse to the hips.
Try to be sure that
So,
that's a little bit forward for you. What you're looking at. Oh wait, is that where UV's position? Yeah, sorry. There you go. Very good.
so. Alright. Which one is it? Tail root. Okay. So I got the tail. Now I'm going to attach component again. Physics. Dynamic bones. Dynamic bone chain. And
And also
Do
show
the
them how
same-
to set as is grabbable, because that also allows you to interact and move around
yes.
with the thing. Which
Mhm.
is right up here.
Yes. I'm going to do setup from children rig only. And right away.
The tail's wiggly.
Yep.
Now, as Nex was pointing out, there is an is grabbable toggle here, which, if checked, means that this is now interactive, and I can grab it and move it around.
Yep, that's an important one.
Now where's where was the option to? Oh yeah, grab slipping. Basically, that checkbox where it says grab slipping. After a while, it just stops grabbing it.
I will enable the Visualize Bones checkbox, which lets you see the various bones that it's wiggling. And grab slipping basically lets which one you're grabbing here, it kind of slips down the length if you grab too far, like so. Which is good for some instances.
Be good for making rope.
Also, these two Visualize Colliders and Visualize Bones checkbox are great for detecting if, I have a lot of colliders in my hand, if everything is working as it should. There's a lot of other options here too. However,
Oh, there
the
it
important
is.
ones...
That's what I was looking for.
Ah, yes, stretch.
So that means
You stretch
it
it.
Stretch it.
needs to be more.
So 2 means it can be stretched twice as long.
So where are you
Oh,
doing that
stretchy
to
tail.
allow the dynamic bonus stretch?
It is located here where you have global stretch and max stretch ratio. The max stretch ratio controls how much it can be stretched. Global stretch just increases or decreases the length,
I see.
like so.
Nice.
I'm gonna reset
That could
that
be
back
an
to
easy
1.
way of people changing like the size of things like
Yeah,
ears or
actually,
tails.
yeah. Never actually thought about it like that.
Cool. And
Okay.
then why don't you also let them know about the inertia, the dampening?
Yes,
elasticity?
so the really pertinent settings to dynamic bones are up at the top, which are these 5 sliders and these checkboxes. Inertia, inertial force, control how the dynamic bone chain acts when it moves. A positive inertial force means it will generally move in the direction that you're moving, but I tend to set this to a negative number, which means it lags behind a little and kind of acts like there's air pressure or something. Dampening and elasticity control how it behaves and how elastic and bouncy the dynamic bone chain is. Dampening controls how quickly it will fall off. If I increase the dampening, you can see it moves very slowly now, and it doesn't really move around all that quickly. Kind of feels like it's floating. And
Now if we do elasticity.
similarly, high elasticity, it's incredibly bouncy.
Happy dog. Happy doggy.
And a combination of the two generally means that the higher the values, the quicker the dynamic bone chain will move to its initial position after moving like so. See how it moves more quickly. Now, if we lower these, then it will reach its target more slowly, and it behaves differently. This is definitely kind of a trial and error sort of a thing, I believe, but getting these right will definitely make the difference between an ear having dynamic bones and a tail, for example.
There
the
was a
fifth slider-
question, and someone said, "Can you type more than 2?" And the question and the answer is yes.
Yes.
Yep.
There's checkbox over here which applies to any of these. This slider is just a suggestion, but you can go in here and type any number you want, like 10. So now the tail will stretch really far.
Remember, folks, sliders are just suggestions.
Yes. Okay. But stiffness will control how far each bone segment can move. If we set it a really high stiffness, then it doesn't move very far at all, and you can see how after a point it just kind of stops moving further.
And then if you
Whereas-
put it all the way, it doesn't move at all.
Yeah, if you set a stiffness of 1, it's like there's no dynamic bone at all, because it can't move. And a stiffness of 0 means it can just go wherever, which can be good in certain cases, but in other cases, not so much. The default is 20%, which is good. Now, underneath this, we have options to simulate terminal bones and bone radius, as well as what colliders on the body that this can collide with, like the head, the body, left and right hands, and whether or not you want this dynamic bone chain to collide with your own body or not. You can also control whether or not, if you touch the bones with your hands, whether it does some kind of a haptic vibration, which I set it to a large haptic, and when I touch the tail, I can feel it. It's a little bit of immersion.
There's also gravity as well.
Mm-hmm. Gravity allows you to input a strength, a direction of where gravity is. Downwards in this case would be, let's just do negative 9.81. Now the tail kind of falls down a little bit. And even if the avatar is sideways, it still kind of falls down. And the higher the number, the more it will abide by gravity. Useful if you have, say, like a flowing outfit, and you want all the parts that can hang to hang.
Now, would this
and it
also
works
work
nicely.
would this also work for something like ears on a character's head? So if I had that on this,
Absolutely.
Yes.
Wait over there.
Or like that little earring on your ear. It would be good for that.
Mm-hmm. Means the earring in that case would always hang down and abide by gravity.
Or the keychain would also be a good one
Oh,
to have gravity.
Might already.
And-
yeah, it looks like it does. Because when I try to rotate
Yep.
it,
Mm-hmm.
it wants to stay down.
And you can also choose which space it's using the gravity. If it's relative to, like, say, the user, or like where the user's in, all that sort of stuff. So,
And as for the real basics of dynamic bone chains, I think that covers most things. There's, of course, extra options down here for controlling whether or not it will vibrate when you grab a bone, whether grabbing these dynamic bones, you can allow stealing, which means if you're grabbing it, someone else can take it from you, as well as other handy things. And another thing to note, if you set this up, you'll notice, if we scroll to the top here, that the tails... in this case, the tail's rotation and position are driven. If you want to change these values, these are now controlled here in the bones. In this case, we are wanting to change the tail root. So if I change the original rotation here to something else, I think it's, yeah. You change the rotation here, and the bone will update accordingly. And I believe that's good for dynamic bones. We have... just about 10 minutes left.
Yep, and I think this would be a good opportunity to allow for anybody to ask questions about something when it involves avatars or anything about it. And we will be ending off the stream fairly soon.
we should show how to save an avatar.
Yes, let's do that before we do anything.
I removed the dynamic bones off of this one.
Okay.
Would
It's
you
all
like to
fixed.
just open up your inventory, as the legacy style?
Mm-hmm.
You just have like a blank folder and then kind of show how it works.
Mm-hmm. So, if you want to save an avatar into your inventory, this applies if you open up the legacy one or if you view it in your actual inventory on your dashboard. There are two ways of saving an avatar, whether you're in it or not. If the avatar is in the world like such, you can save the avatar by grabbing it, and while you're grabbing it, you click this green plus icon on your inventory, which is the add button. And in doing so, it saves the copy.
You can
to
also
your
do
inventory.
it with gripping the avatar, opening up hand menu, and doing save to inventory
Yes.
as such as well.
However, with the save to inventory option, you want to take note that it will save it to the folder that you're currently looking at in your inventory.
Yep.
And if you're in, say, Essential Tools and such, this option will be disabled, so you want to make sure you're in the right folder.
Yep, very true.
Now, another option, say you're in the avatar, you want to save it. Well, if you click the green plus button now while you're in the avatar and you're not holding anything, it just prompts you to create a new directory, which that's not necessarily what we want. Instead, you want to use this blue download button, which takes your current avatar and saves it to your inventory, like such. Now, once you have the inventory saved, you can set it by single clicking it, and you're granted with a bunch of options. The two important ones here are these last two. If you select the avatar and you want to wear it, instead of having to spawn it out and click on it and click Equip Avatar, you can just click the yellow lightning bolt, and that will apply it automatically, like so. Now, if you want this to be your new default avatar and you want to load into this avatar every time that you enter a world, you're going to want to click the pink heart icon here, which is the favorite. And you notice the background of the item is now kind of a pink color. So if I were to respawn, you'll see I spawn in now as the avatar that I favorited. And that's how you can save an avatar. I'm going to go back to me now.
Perfect. I think that covers a lot for teaching people how to kind of get them set up, as well as all the different options that you guys have shown off on today's stream is a big wealth of knowledge that kind of gets missed, and even some stuff that even Aegis themselves didn't know, which, it's good that, there can be more information in these sorts of streams than people can
Yes.
learn and go back for them as a form of resource. Even to this day, I get so many people saying from the horrible tutorials I did a year and a half ago that are so out of date now. They even still to this day say, "Oh wow, it's just really good to have that kind of way to learn," and it taught me a lot. So these I really feel this is going to be a really good stream that's going to teach a lot of new users how to really get started, get set up.
I saved this avatar into that Ready Player Me folder that you made.
Yep, and you guys
In the
also
essentials.
already covered the bones and how it has to be named properly in Blender, right? You guys already covered that.
Yes.
Cool, good.
How
Shall we
much
head back
time do
behind
we
the
have?
desk? We have 7 minutes.
Yep, 7 minutes, so we can head back over to the desk. We might get questions, and if we do, that's okay.
Hey, Ravy.
Hello?
And absolutely, Kirkimon, no problem at all.
Little screenshot.
Oh, we've lost our camera preview.
There we go.
I love this screenshot.
I was so small that I was on the borderline of clipping out.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my.
No one could actually see me. I was that small. It was great.
You were a dust particle.
I
You were a
literally
pixel.
was.
Okay, so I think we have a question here from Seto-kun as again. Maybe an odd question. Affix Neo
Yes.
stores data in the specific directory on a local drive. Can users back them and restore them? I mean actual Neos assets, not FBX files.
What you're talking about is the Neos cache, and that is located in a specific folder on your hard drive, yes. And it will take up space. The more worlds you visit, and the more assets you load in Neos, it caches them so that you load them more quickly later on. Sometimes you will have to clear your cache, but it can be moved to another directory, but that requires knowledge of symbolic links and such, which is out of the scope of what we're teaching here.
Yeah.
Although, if you save any object, world, or avatar in your local world, it will, and you save that local world, it will save to your hard drive.
Yes, that is one useful thing with the local home, which everyone has and is always open when you're in Neos, is you can save things,
Tracking?
worlds, items, and otherwise to that world, and they will save only locally to your computer and will not be uploaded to the Neos cloud.
Then you accidentally clear your database and you're like, oh, damn it, where did all my
Yeah.
work go?
If you clear your database, everything in your local goes with it.
True, I've done that before. And Angel Boy asks, how easy is it to clone the dynamic bone component from one avatar to another with the same armature?
That can be a little bit tricky, but generally something that is useful in that case is you can use the component clone tip to copy the dynamic bone from one hierarchy to another. Generally, though, I tend to just set them up from scratch again, copying over the values as necessary, because in my case at least, I've discovered that using the component clone tip can be a little bit tricky.
I was going
And
to
there
say
might be a better way, but I'm not
sometimes
sure.
I've had issues with the component clone tool before when copying stuff like dynamic bones and
Yes.
everything, and it gets a bit screwy. So you're probably just best just to, hand copy the values, really.
Yeah, you can easily also drag and drop those values through the number values by having two inspectors open, and then you just have them both open and drag and drop the number values. It's a lot easier than if you want them to be exact. If, let's say, you're doing one side, you don't want to be a
Yes.
little bit off from the other one unless you want to
Now-
be quirky like that.
One
Hey,
quick tip
yes.
for me. Oh, you go ahead.
I was just telling Aegis was just positioning the tooltip and rotating it. You can double pull your trigger, by the way. Rotate things while you're holding on to them. I just thought I'd mention that. That just springs to my
Yes,
mind.
this is a fantastic quick tip.
And you can also
But-
double pull your trigger to straighten things.
Yes.
That would be an interesting thing to actually have on a section for Workshop Wednesdays, is just quick tips. So instead of it being like in the same way as it's like a mini section of the stream where it's just showing something quick that you maybe didn't know, that it isn't about really the whole stream of what it's about, just like at the very end, just, oh, did you know you could do this kind of thing, but it's like 1 minute to show. That honestly, that would be cool to have it like that.
So,
Yes.
Angel Boy, and this is what I wanted to bring up earlier, actually, there is a way to quickly set up a dynamic bone chain component and duplicate it where you need to, and that is when you make the dynamic bone chain component for something, you set up its values, and before you click the button to populate it with the bones, you component clone it, and then for each, say you're setting up a wing with lots of separate bone chains, once you have that component cloned before you set it up the first time, you can set up the bone chain on 1, go to your hierarchy, paste it, set it up again, because it'll already have all of the values. That's how I've very quickly set up lots of the bone chains that I know need the same values without having to create each one individually. You just need to make sure that you component clone it before you set it up as a dynamic bone chain.
Absolutely. Okay, you guys, just so you know, like as we usually do, we're going to be having this world open for if anybody wants to come inside of here and discuss what we've discussed today, or even have more questions. Probably we can even help people to set up their avatar if they're brand new. If we have any new users watching on the stream, they're like, I don't know how to set the avatar, please come inside of this world and we'll definitely be able to help set you up. As well as thank you again for watching for the Workshop Wednesdays. And
yeah, it's always awesome having you guys tuning in to come see what we're up to this week. We are going to have the second part of avatars next week, where we'll be covering a bit more.
Well, it's bi-weekly.
No, next week.
Oh, it's going to be next week for this one? Okay.
Yep, if it's like a multi-part series, then we cover what's next right after it in like series non-stop until it's done.
Say something ends up with 4 parts, we do 4 in a row, and then we take a week off to then prepare for the next block.
Oh, makes sense.
Yep. In the advanced, or the next step of avatars is like any advanced kind of features that can add, or any like things that could go wrong, like common like issues and such. Whether it be rig materials or in the model setup and all that. Not everything, or the things you can do in Neos and the things you have to do outside of Neos.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yes, thank you again, everyone who's joined, and many thanks to you guys for watching. And please join our Discord, discord.gg/neosvr if you haven't already. But I'm sure most of you guys that are watching right now are probably already inside of there.
I was going to say, at this point, I think nearly everyone is, yeah.
Yeah.
There was might be that one I think I just even heard. Well, I'm not sure what that sound was. But yeah, we'll be ending it off. Do we have anybody that we would like to...
I'll see if we've got somebody, but yeah, just remember, as we say, we are open for an hour after the stream, so please feel free to come join us. We'll return on Friday with our standard stream, and we'll be back with Workshop next Wednesday.
Yep.
We did cover that, right? Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, I always... it's one of those things I automatically say, but yeah, thanks all. Bye.
Bye.